Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. I am Mike, and I'm joined by Miguel. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, Stan? Put your ones up for your original tribal chief, the OTC. That's me.
And the other tribal chief is back too, isn't he? Roman Reigns. Did he
Roman
come
Reigns
back during
is
SummerSlam?
back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we are back. Just you and I today. Mark had a family emergency, but it looks like a friend of his is having a baby. So congratulations to them. So here we are. We're coming off a preseason game. We have Eagles football is back.
Oh, baby.
Right. So we're going to review that Baltimore game. We're going to preview a little bit of the next game coming up. And we got some news about some player retiring. And we have some news about Jalen Hurts trying to get a scouting report on himself. So we're going to do that.
Nice.
So if you want to follow us on Instagram, Squawking Eagles Podcast, go over and give us a follow there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we have a TeePublic site. If you want some t-shirts, we are selling some t-shirts over there. I'm going to be putting up some Brazil t-shirts coming up. Yes. So go over there and check it out. So I guess let's start off first. We have a retiring Eagle made his official retirement from the NFL after 11 seasons. BDN. Nick Foles retiring as an Eagle.
Foles, big dick, Nick Foles. So
yeah, it's he had a really nice, I guess you could say, like exit interview that he put out, I guess, and thanking the fans and that he had such a wonderful career. He played for a lot of teams after he started rallying them off between the Eagles, the Rams, the Jaguars, the Eagles again, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Bears. He played for quite a few teams.
yes, he did.
There was a question out. There's a
lot of contracts.
It's a lot of contracts. That's a lot of money. He made us some good money.
He made some good money.
Question. A question has arisen is that do the Eagles retire number 9?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, they made it unavailable this season.
Yeah.
I know, I forget who it was that was trying to get number 9. Somebody on defense. I think it was Huff.
Probably Huff.
I think it was Huff that tried to get the number 9, and they didn't allow him to get it. That's why he was wearing number 19. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. The only quarterback to win the franchise a Super Bowl. And I mean, granted, he's not the all-star that that usually get that honor of getting their jersey retired. Michael Jordan,
yes,
Willie Mays,
yes.
So he's not in that stature, but he is important for the franchise because he gave us that first Super Bowl. So I say yeah.
You say yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. He doesn't fit the the mold
criteria.
of retiring a number. Like the Yankees have like retired numbers 1 through 9 and more. Like
Right.
they're running into trouble with getting numbers on people's backs. They're high numbers, like 78. They're like football numbers now for the Yankees.
Yeah.
And football, there's not a lot of guys that have their numbers retired. I don't know if there's really not many. Yes, the Eagles won their first Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and they are definitely going to be winning another Super Bowl with who is a quarterback this year. Do they retire number 9?
I mean, did the Jets retire? What's his name? Fuck, I forgot his name.
Joe Namath.
Joe Namath's jersey.
Yeah. Yes.
He
Yes.
only got them one Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's Joe Namath. That's Broadway Joe. Like, we're only talking about BDN. Like, Philly only knows about Nick Foles, really. Like,
Yeah.
Joe Namath is world renowned. Like everybody knows who Joe Namath is.
True.
He predicted the Super Bowl. Like everybody knows that.
Yeah, he sold his soul. Let's be honest. He sold his soul to the devil. That's why the Jets haven't given him back yet. So, sorry, Beckerman.
Right,
we got to live up
right,
to that curse over there.
right.
I, yeah, I mean, I can make a case either way, but I feel like right now the number is it should be held in high regard because it is the only Super Bowl. Had we won 2 years ago against the Chiefs when that holding penalty ruined it,
Yeah,
um,
the
then
fumble.
I would have
The
said
fumble.
no. I would have said no.
Yeah,
I'm, I'm not gonna blame Jalen for the fumble. I'm just gonna blame the ref for the holding call.
I think I think I think we just hold it out, like make it unavailable. Make it unavailable for a while. I'm good with that.
I agree. I
You know,
agree. Give us
I'm
some
not
time.
I'm not ready. Let Jalen do his thing. Let Jalen win some
I
Super
mean,
Bowls.
he already has a statue outside the stadium.
I
So
know, I know. It's like,
does he really need his jersey retired too?
yeah, right. Do we really need
So,
it?
like I said, I could argue either way.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure.
yeah, I appreciate the guy. Love Nick Foles. We'll never forget what he did for the team for to give the Eagles their first Super Bowl and that emotional ride that we all went through. I just don't think it's number retired worthy. You know what I mean?
I can see. I can see how you
Yeah.
say it.
But thank you, Nick Foles. Go down in history as one of the greatest Eagles to play because of the seven touchdown game and the snow game against the Lions. Like
Oh yeah.
he's got some memorable things that he did in an Eagles jersey. He did. He really did. Uh, but I think we're gonna have to stop and pump the brakes here on retiring his number.
Yeah. Put him on the wall, but
Yeah,
keep the number available.
yeah, I agree.
At least unavailable for at least the next. Well,
I would say
they're gonna
decade, at least next
decade.
decade. Yes, I'll go for 10 years.
All right, I respect it. I respect it. I respect it.
All right, so let's go on to let's talk about future Eagles and current Eagles at the moment. Eagles play their first preseason game against Baltimore. There was reports that the Eagles were going to play their starters in the first series,
Yeah,
and then Hurricane Debbie came through and made a mess of the field, and Nick Sirianni decided to just not put them out there at all.
I think it's a smart move.
Smart move. It's a smart move. At
Smart
least
move.
that's what he does. So he makes those kind of moves, right?
But does he do that at the link? Does he make that
Uh,
same move if the Eagles are at home?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Thank goodness that they weren't at home because
Right.
that would have been really hard because people would have wanted to see the whole unit out there for sure. I
Yeah,
would.
at least one series.
Yeah, yeah,
At least. But I mean, I think that you don't want to risk injuring anybody because anybody on that starting 11 uh going down is going to be is a major impact to that team. It's a major loss.
yeah,
So I agree. Play it safe. Let's get to the season. Let's not try to showboat or put on a show just because it's preseason.
yeah.
What it's for.
Yeah, they get the guys who are going to be backups and practice squad players to see what they can do. The Eagles did win 16-13 in dramatic fashion, might I say, with a missed field goal by Jake Elliott and then a strip sack to Eagles recover the ball and then give Jake Elliott a second chance to kick a field goal to win the game. Uh, Interesting. It was an interesting last 15 seconds of the game, for sure.
Yeah. Listener, I got out of work late. I missed the game. I wasn't able to see it at work.
No,
So as we record this, I'm trying to watch the game and catch up. We have the stats.
we have the stats. Kenny
So-
Pickett started the game, threw his first touchdown to Will Shipley for his first touchdown and the first touchdown of the preseason. Of course, we didn't see Saquon in the backfield, but we saw your buddy Kenneth Gainwell. He played. Lou Nichols, he had a touchdown, two down. I guess it was like a 2-yard touchdown run. We also did see the brotherly shove. We saw one
Nice.
brotherly shove, and it worked. and none of the starting. I guess a few of the starters were in there, but it worked. So I think we're going to see it a few times this year.
Right. Yeah. Come on, we're the Eagles. You're gonna see it a bunch of times.
Gotcha. You
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, it's a
So
must.
here's my question, Mike. They didn't start the offense, but did the full defense start? Did the starting defense start the whole game? Well,
No,
not the
no,
whole
we
game.
didn't.
The series?
Kobe D was out there. Billy Williams was out there for a little bit. Avante Maddox was.
Okay.
Devin White was in there a few times. He got a tackle and an assist. Jeremiah Trotter played, I think, the whole game. He
Oh
played the
wow.
whole game. Yeah, he had a
I
sack
guess
as
he
well.
needed to because he was injured for a while, so they probably needed to see him on tape.
100%. Jalix Hunt was in there. He had a couple tackles. He looks good. I
Okay.
think they stole him in the draft.
Right.
Keely Ringo, I guess he broke up a touchdown pass in the end
Okay.
zone.
Nice.
Uh, Quinion Mitchell looking, you can see why he was the first corner taken in the draft. He was on point last night. He
Okay.
could have had a couple of interceptions, but maybe like a wet ball, and he did bring it in. But I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
I am too. I expect a lot out of him. Um, Hopefully he gets a lot of playing time. I know he's got to be splitting. There's a lot of rotational guys in there. So
Yeah,
we'll see how he stands up.
Yeah, Bryce Huff didn't play. Jordan Davis didn't play. Uh, Jalen Carter, I think, was in there for a series or two.
Hey, don't forget my boy Nolan Smith
And
now.
I was waiting for you. He's your boy. I
Oh
wanted
yeah, that's my boy.
to say it. Go ahead. He
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah. Got a one sack. I
one
know.
sack.
Listening on the press conference on the way back home from work last night, Sirianni spoke highly of him and how he was around the ball and just making an impact on defense. So
He had
I,
one
I,
sack, a tackle, and 3 assists. He was all over the
nice.
place. He was all
Yeah,
over the place.
that's great. That's what we need. We need him to stand up. And I know last year was probably difficult to get him in there. There's a touchdown to Shipley as we speak. Um, I know it was tough to get him in there because of the people that were in front of him. But now, Hassan Reddick not being here and the other moves that they made allow him to get more playing time this season. So I'm really interested to see what his output's going to be this year.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked fast, especially on the sack. He kind of ran around the tackle.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that was their starting tackle or not, but most likely that guy's not going to be. He wasn't the starter. Still, you got to get around a fast, a big guy like that.
Right.
Uh, I'm excited to see what he's going to do. We're not going. We haven't gone over the lineup yet. The depth chart was released. Uh, it's going to be an interesting year because they have a lot of linebackers, and they gotta fit these guys in somehow. And
Yeah.
Devin White's looking really good,
Mhm.
and then N'Kobe Dean and Nolan Smith and Zach Braun, and they just signed another linebacker. They know they were thin in the linebacker position, and they have addressed it by bringing in and setting up a competition for the team.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that I feel our team is weak at is outside linebacker position. So
Yeah,
outside of Devin White and and
N'Kobe,
Trotter
yeah,
and
Trotter.
Kobe Dean, like who else is up there? You know what I mean? Like, so we need to see who can stand up for a season. So
Yeah, yeah, it's going to
yeah,
be a
bringing all the
definitely.
help we can get.
Yes, help is indeed on the way. I think they've addressed it. Again, we didn't see Cooper DeJean either. He's out
Mhm.
still with a hamstring. Uh, but for wide receivers, John Ross had a great game. He had 3 catches for 28 yards. Britton Covey had 4 catches. Grant Katera, he's having a good camp. We were talking about that last week.
Right.
Uh, So yeah, they're showing up. Isaiah Rogers actually was in a few scenes. So
What stood out to you as you watched the game? Like what
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 stood out
what?
to me is that they were able to get to the quarterback. Yes, granted, this is second string, third string guys, but the defense looked quick because
Okay.
I feel they looked younger and they were hungry. Uh,
Nice.
and I really think the future of the Eagles on defense is very bright. very bright with these young guys, Trotter, uh, and Dean and Mitchell, and
Okay.
when Cooper comes back, and Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo. These guys are the future defense of the Eagles, and I think they're going to be in good hands. These guys, they came into play.
Now I'm watching this now, but it's the first time I get to see our team. Uh,
Right.
how did the kickoff returns stand out to you?
Interesting to watch.
Yeah,
It gave, there was more
returns.
returns. Britton Covey was able to get a lot going and going for that, and so it was good to see. I think it's going to have to, you're going to have to it's going to have to grow on you. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I guess I mean, just watching it, I'm guessing if it's almost considered a penalty if you kick it into the end zone now, because then if they take a knee, it's at the 40-yard line, right?
yeah, yeah,
Whereas you want them to return the ball.
yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know. It's
I,
interesting.
I,
I'm
I,
watching it now.
yeah, I
The
still
line,
think. Yeah, they did it. Originally they wanted to like reduce kickoff returns because of injuries.
mhm.
I think there's still going to be more injury. I think there's going to be injuries for those kickoffs.
I mean, I think they will be. I think what they're trying to get away is like concussions,
Right.
and kind of taking away of how meaningless kickoffs became last year. Oh, fumble. Uh, how the kickoffs became meaningless last year. They said 80% of kickoffs last year were touchbacks. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you take that out of the equation. I mean, it becomes more of a running play now because, you know, nobody can move until the ball is touched. And then the allowance of having that blocking in front set in time for the kick, return to get there, I feel is a better chance.
Right.
It's
And
not as high impact as it was
right.
before.
And also, like, there's no such thing anymore of surprise onside kicks. There will never
Right.
be a surprise onside kick.
Yeah, you
Everybody's
got
going to know it's going to come and how. So there's going to be a huge drop on onside kicks now because of you can't do it before the fourth quarter, and you have to tell the referees that's coming. So
why can't you do it before the fourth quarter?
it's just one of the rules they put in.
What if you're Andy Reid and you want to do it coming out of halftime
Can't do
or
it
the start
anymore.
of the game?
Took it away. That
Damn
they
it!
took that away. That's away now.
Damn it!
Yeah. Like it definitely changed. Like rules are meant to be, help the players. These rules are supposed to help the players.
Mm,
I don't know if it's really going to help. I don't know.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The
Sure, they'll
what
change it next year if anything.
Yeah, that's what they do. Like it's taken me a while to get used to this pitch clock for baseball because I'm like, what this is clock is this and then there's a ball if you just it's like you're changing baseball. Like you're changing the rules of baseball just because this generation is so low, like their attention span is so weak. And
Right.
so you're almost ruining baseball by changing the way it's supposed to be played.
All right, and that's you're a purist, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I think it's helped baseball. It's helped me watch more games of baseball because I don't have to sit there and wait for the pitcher to, do his thing for 5 minutes. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it becomes a game of catch between the pitcher and the catcher instead of what baseball is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
I think that it's helped the sport because I've been more tuned in because of the pitch clock.
Okay. All right. Fair. 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 So overall, I'm happy with this game. What about
Mhm.
I know you're watching it now, so
Right.
but
I feel happy that we not only because we won, but just hearing how everybody played, especially the backups,
yeah,
and what really stood out to me as I was watching the first series, that backup, that those backup linemen that we have, bro, they're huge,
huge. Yeah,
huge. Like that's what really stood out to me. Like I'm like these guys are fucking monsters, and this is only our backups. I can't imagine what our starting
yeah,
guys would look like
yeah,
this year.
yeah. Trevor
So
Keegan from Michigan, he's a monster. I think that him at right guard, he's definitely going to be the future on the line there.
Yeah,
Howie's really brought some guys that are really going to fill in these spots when these guys are gone, and it looks good. The future looks good. Future looks good.
definitely does. Can't wait to
Yeah,
get that second ring. Hopefully, knock
right.
on wood.
And
Yeah,
I just don't want one. I want more than just one coming up here. You know.
yeah, I definitely do too. But we gotta face it one season at a time.
Yes, right. That's right. So I want to preview the next game that's coming next Thursday. But before I do that, I
Mm,
wanted to talk about the Tim McManus, I guess, article that came out
right.
about Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and the locker room. You read it. What are your thoughts?
Um, I felt it was very interesting. You know, I know a lot of people are upset because it's coming out now and it's about last season. Why bring up old shit? But you know what? It's still lingering around the locker room. Why not get it out now in the open? It's preseason. Let's get through this bullshit so we can focus on the season, right? Uh these guys, look, when you go to work, your coworkers, they're not your family, right? But you probably see them more than your family members at home. And just like family, you're gonna have your good days, and you're gonna have your bad days. You're not gonna agree with certain things that they do, um, and it's okay because we don't have to agree with the with their train of thought, I guess you could say, right? But we need to move forward from it. Okay, last year was last year. It was more than just the Sirianni and Jalen Hurts relationship. It was a lot more going on that we know of that still is kind of hitting behind the curtain, right? But we've told you guys about it. If not, go back and listen to a couple podcasts. We've talked about it. Um, I think it's interesting that I feel like Sirianni is definitely going to be on the hot seat this year, depending on how this team does. And I just hope that this whole relationship between Hertz and Sirianni is smoothed out because this is all aired out now. Um, I they like they said in the story, they might not go to dinner together, but they got to work together, and that's the key. Jalen Hurts trying to play hero ball last year, trying to compensate for Sirianni's lack, I guess, lack of leadership at that point. There was that debate that Jalen wasn't giving permission or allowance to change the line, play at the line of scrimmage. Um, so I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
I think when they asked Jalen about some of this stuff, he was like, "You're talking about this now? Like now you want to talk about this? This stuff was in the past, and this is the present, and we want to move forward." Like he really is. You can tell Jalen Hurts doesn't want to talk about it. He's done talking about it, but everybody wants to hear it. Everybody wants to
He
hear
hasn't really talked about it though.
it. I
Like, 'cause
know.
we didn't know this. We're out on the outside thinking they're okay. Like we've seen the frustrations, right? We've seen the frustrations on the sideline. We've seen Sirianni or Jalen looking at Sirianni in a with a crazy look because he's reacting like Sirianni reacts,
Right.
in football. So we knew there was something there, but there wasn't substantial evidence for us to bring it to a press conference, or they weren't allowing us behind the scenes look into it, right?
No.
Sorry, I got a fruit fly flying around
That's
me
right.
here.
But yeah, we also did see during practice, like Jalen Hurts was driving Big Dom and Nick Sirianni all around in their golf cart and like laughing and having a good time. Like, is this just like a ruse? Is it just like a fake facade that they look like they're having fun together? And come on, you
No,
can't do that. It's not real.
it's
It's got to be real that they are having fun. It's not fake.
yeah, it can be fake, but I mean, listen, it's like I said, like a relationship. Like there's gonna be some good days. We like you said, like I said earlier, we saw the frustration on the sideline. It's like going to a party and you being with your spouse and had maybe had an argument on the ride to the event, and you guys don't look like you're on the same page. But then a week or two later, you guys are kissing and hugging and holding
Yeah.
hands and skipping through a field of flowers. So
Yes, sure.
it it's gonna be his good days. It's gonna be his bad days. So right
Yeah.
now we're at good. We're at good. We'll see how the season rolls out. Hopefully, it doesn't fall apart and come off. You know, um, come off the railing early.
Earlier than
So yeah, we'll see.
if it does come out early, that means Sirianni is going to get fired in the middle of the season, and hopefully they
Mhm.
can gather the I guess the ashes of the team and pull something out, pull a miracle off, if that's where
Do
we're at.
you do you really think they'll fire him mid-season?
100%, 100%. Like people are wondering why he wasn't fired at the end of this last season.
Because they said that most of the success was because of Nick Sirianni.
Ah,
But then the downfall was also because of Nick Sirianni.
yeah, well, it's always going to fall on the head coach. You and I both know that it's always going to fall onto him, and it's his job to make sure everything goes smoothly, and that he does have a good relationship with his quarterback, and
Mhm.
a good relationship with his offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And it looks like his relationship with Brian Johnson, he didn't really trust Brian Johnson. So if you read into it, Jalen Hurts got Brian Johnson the job because of how their relationship together,
Mhm. Family friend.
right?
Mhm.
So that's pretty much the quarterback picking the offensive coordinator, not the head coach picking the offensive coordinator, right?
Right.
So he didn't allow Brian Johnson to call plays. He told Brian Johnson what plays to call. And then Brian Johnson was like, okay, I'll call them. And it didn't really work out because then, Jalen didn't know who to trust, who to listen to. He didn't like Sirianni because of the Brian Johnson reactions. Like it was a triangle. Like it was definitely a dramatic triangle right there between the three
Yeah.
of those guys.
I mean, that's like how can I put it? That's like you working under your boss, right? And you go, "Hey boss, can you bring in my cousin over here?"
Yep.
And I don't even know how to compare it. It's
It's tough.
just yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's tough.
just a
Your boss brings in your cousin, and your
mhm,
cousin is now, a kind of your
mhm,
supervisor.
mhm,
But you want to listen to your cousin, but you really don't. But you have to listen to your boss, but you really want to listen to your cousin, but you have
right.
to listen to your boss. Like that's a give and take right there. That was a finesse. It was not finesse. Let me just say that they did not
Oh,
finesse it.
they did not at all,
No,
at all. But hopefully now they kissed and made up as best as they could,
the best they could.
and we can get the ball rolling here. I mean, listen, from what I've seen so far, Jalen looks like he's more vocal this season. They did have the one practice where they had him mic'd up.
Yeah,
We got to see him talk to Saquon, where Saquon asked him, "Are you fearless?" And he said, I believe the quote was,
it's a
"You're
good
either
one.
gonna pray about it
Or worry about it.
or worry about it.
You can't do both.
You can't do both." Yeah. So I love that answer, and um, I believe that was the phrasing.
Yeah, he goes, God's got it too. God's got the
Right.
worrying part for you.
True. True. So I like that. Jalen. Here goes that man crush again. Like just when we fell out of the man crush last year because of the way the season ended. Here he
Yeah,
goes putting them quotes out that just give you the goosebumps and
yeah,
make you fall right back in line with him.
yeah.
So
He's a quote machine. He knows what to
yes, he
say.
is.
He knows what to say.
He definitely does.
He doesn't say a lot, but he knows what to say. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like he doesn't say a lot, but he knows what to say.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, he apparently also this story that he reached out to Week Martindale from the
Hmm.
Giants for a scouting report on himself,
Right.
and he wanted to know what the game plan, what their game plan was against him, and Week
And why?
Martindale's like he
And
was.
mhm.
Yeah, Week Martindale said, yeah, he did, and I told him, and I respect that he wanted to know because nobody has ever done that. Nobody has ever asked him.
Right. He took advantage of a coach that was recently fired,
Yeah,
preparing for a playoff game, and he wanted to know why the Giants, because he had such a difficulty facing the Giants this year, why they played defense on them the way that they did. I thought it was a great move by Jalen. That shows character. It shows leadership. That shows want to
being
improve,
humble. He
being
wants to
humbled.
humble.
Yeah, it shows a lot of things about Jalen, and I hope he got what he needed out of that conversation with him. I don't know how legally that falls in line, because technically, yes, Wink was fired. Was it the end of the season though? Yeah, because we were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wasn't. He didn't break any rules.
No,
Um,
no, they weren't
it's the first
playing it.
time I've ever heard a quarterback call a rivalry coach to find out the scouting report on himself. So
And also, to tell you the truth, I'm sure other players have called coaches about their game planning against each other. I just think that we're so hypersensitive and hyper like into these things. These things get leaked out and we hear about it and we make
mhm.
we kind of like, do we blow it out of proportion a little bit? Maybe we do. Uh but like I know like apparently secretly Peyton Manning and Tom Brady used to work out in the off season in some high school, and they would
Yep,
tell its kids, "Do not tell anybody. Do not say we're
mhm,
doing this." And they did it for years.
yep.
Um, and nobody, and then we finally, we finding out years later. But so I'm sure that happens. I think that now that it's such like a, this season to hear these stories, they come out quicker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, any off seasons, you see a lot of coaches get advice from college coaches. Like on Hard Knocks, you saw Nick Saban shows up to Giants camp. So it's helpful to get an outside perspective.
It helps.
It does. It does. I'm sorry, I'm watching Nolan Smith go to work here.
That's your guy.
Yeah.
So I think moving forward from this article, I think people should be sufficed with what the article has said. I'll repost it on our Instagram. Uh,
Did you see Tim McManus, who wrote the article?
yeah,
When they asked him they when they first announced the announcement of the article, Jalen was asked a question and he was shocked about the question. He goes, "Where did you hear that from?" And Tim McManus jumped up and was like, "I wrote it,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
and took ownership. That was gangster.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's true. You got to, and in these days, you have to. Uh, take accountability for what you put out there, and if especially if it's right, and it sounds like it was. I'm pretty sure Tim McManus is going to be on the Fanatics sometime next week.
mm,
I'm sure he's going to talk about that
yeah,
article.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
Uh, yeah, I'd like to move on to New England Patriots preseason game on August 15th. Apparently, it's a really great day. August 15th. It's a really good day. Thursday.
Whose birthdays that is?
Mine. My
Nice.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Uh, so yeah, they're going to play the Patriots in New England. The Patriots have a quarterback controversy with Drake May and their guy they took in like the 6th or 7th round, Milton, I think his name is, or Mixon.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're fighting out for each other, so that should be interesting to see those two play.
I just saw
Um,
that they released Juju Smith-Schuster.
they did. They released Juju Smith-Schuster. He got released from probably one of the worst teams in football. So what does that tell you about him?
His career is over.
Done.
But unless he goes back to the Steelers.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't see him catching on a team anytime soon.
Mhm.
So it's going to be played in New England. I guess the starters will play one series like they were going to do in Baltimore.
I mean, they should. I don't see why uh they would be held out. I mean, we didn't see them at all.
No.
Like we said earlier, because of the rain. So I mean, you got to see them live. You got to see that first team at least 2 series. So
I think we'll see one series, and then we'll see more of them in the third game against the Vikings at the link.
see, I think the opposite. I
Really?
Because right before there was 4 preseason games, right? You would
Yeah.
see the starters usually come out the first series for the first game. The second series they play a little bit longer, maybe you know, a whole quarter, right? And then the third game, they would play for the first half. And then the fourth game will be used to scout, the backups. And it'll
Right.
be the backup game, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like the NFL is shifting, even though they're probably getting ready to take one of these preseason games and turn them into a regular season game.
Yep.
What I think is going to start, we're going to start seeing is that the first game is going to see the backups. Second game is get all the starters, and then the second game is to see all the starters in the first half, and then the third game will be let's set the rest of the roster with it,
Mm,
because you don't want that third game to injure one of your key players going in
right.
starting the season. So
Now, I understand. I see what you're saying, but on my side, I'm thinking that third game is closer to the regular season, and it gets them a little bit more acclimated with the gameplay. And so it gets like if they're in there a little bit longer, then you take them out and they're ready for week one in Brazil. Again, we're going to be playing in Brazil again,
true,
so
true.
that's going to be a whole different kind of thing of travel and going through the customs and all that stuff. That's going to be a circus. I see it as being a circus going down there,
Oh,
and
definitely.
I'd rather them have some gameplay under their belts at home because it's going to be at home. Uh, that last game, and so yeah, who knows? Like we're
Yeah,
just
I mean,
speculating here.
yeah, I mean, you're right. That first game is going to be a circus. I'm sure. Um, Not to put it in par with the Super Bowl, but I'm sure the media surrounding it is going to be wild.
Yep.
I'm sure they're going to have a lot of media availability for a lot of these players, because they are in a different country and playing a sport that they're not familiar with. So I don't know, that first game and how we move forward from that is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I would say so. But again, needless to say, excited that Eagles football is back. Uh, we're only 27 days away from September 6th. So
27. Wow.
27 days.
Summer went
Malcolm
by like a
Malcolm
blink of
Jenkins
an eye.
days. The summer has gone by very quickly.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
yes, it has.
Yeah.
But real quick, Mike, how are
Yeah.
we feeling about the news on this Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco? I'm hearing possibility Washington is on in contention of trading for him.
That
Ooh,
would be
this oh my
interesting.
God.
I do know that there was trying to be a trade to the Patriots was in the deal, but he didn't want to work it out. He didn't want to work out the trade. He didn't want to figure it out. Like,
I heard he didn't want to go in the cold weather, but
of
then he goes,
course,
"I want to go to Pittsburgh."
right? But yeah, Pittsburgh's colder as just as cold as New England, so
Right,
I'm
right.
not sure. Uh, and I don't know. This guy doesn't seem like a team player in my mind. I think he wants. I think he wants more than what he's valued at. I
Yeah,
don't can right
he
like
wants 30, right? But they
yeah,
offered him 28, and he won't sign that.
yeah.
So
If I'm the 49ers, I cut bait and let this guy go to somewhere else and make do with you. You do have some good receivers, and you did draft receivers in anticipation of having this problem. And so
very true.
I think you cut bait with this guy and let him go to the Commanders and just find out how good he is, which I really don't think he's that good.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think he was in a great situation with Debo Samuels and Kittle's over there, um, helping him out, and he was, you know,
Yeah,
probably the third receiver on that depth chart. But I think if you pair him with Terry Scary over there in Washington, they're gonna be a scary. There's gonna be a scary team to face twice a year.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's always they always play different when they play the Eagles, so it's always a division game. It always plays different.
Yes. Yep.
Uh, they still have Marcus Mariota and Jalen Daniels down there, so that should be
Jalen
interesting to
Daniels been
see.
looking sharp though out here, so
Yeah, yeah,
that's worrisome.
yeah. And it's gonna be a fun season. I'm trying to get some guys to come on to the podcast who are Washington fans, so I'm trying to get him on.
Good
We'll see. Uh,
luck with that.
yeah. Uh, Yeah, so we're in this week going into week 2 of the preseason. Eagles are looking good. I'm happy with how this game turned out. win or loss doesn't really matter. It's just how they looked, and I think they looked pretty good, especially on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good. And
yeah,
I'm watching the game now. I'm starting to catch up. But
yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Just look how much news has been out since the start of preseason and
Yeah.
where we've gotten to now.
Yeah.
And football is here.
Yep.
It's here. It's
Back.
football season. Let's
Yeah,
go.
it's back. It's back.
I wait for Madden to come out.
Have you played NCAA football? Well, college football. Have you played that yet?
I was at my brother's house last weekend, and I did get to play him. I beat him the first game, and then he whooped my ass the second game.
Who'd you use? What school did you use?
The first game I used Miami University Hurricanes.
Yep.
You
big U.
And the second game I used what did I use the second game? I think I went Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia. Hey,
Bulldogs.
Gotta represent. Gotta represent those Bulldogs.
You know what I mean?
Gotta represent those Bulldogs.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right, Miguel. We will be back next week. We are going to do a schedule review, and we're going to predict our schedule for the Eagles, and we're going to do some other predictions too for the NFL that we haven't done in the past. So we're going to do that this year, and then we'll review the New England game and preview the next one. That'll do it for us. That'll do it.
Right.
You know how
we do. EHELES.
Eagles.
Go Birds. Hey, Mike, hit that OTC music. Get that tribal chief shout out.